Oh, okay. Well, yeah, and also murder is probably just like the wrong topic for this particular
Far
thing here
extreme
because
case.
yes, it's a super
But
extreme,
take
but
the example of someone.
cheating.
Yeah, take
Oh,
someone
okay.
example of someone cheating on their wife, right? Like they know they've made a covenant with their wife. They know that their wife heart breaks every single time, and that she finds out or it happens. They know that he's got kids, or he's putting his family at risk, or he's putting his life at risk, or divorce and alimony and all the financial things that come along with it. He knows every single time that he is, potentially putting his life and his status at risk. But the satisfaction that he gets from having a new person or by having sex with someone else who's not his significant other or wife is something that he just can't get over or refuses to get over. Most of this, for some, just
Refuse.
refuses to get over.
Refuse.
Again, there might be a percentage of fellas out there, most of it is, or individuals out there who just have to get their rocks off, and it is just they're having a sexual impulse to, you know, get off multiple times a day. And if their wife ain't there and already, they don't see any, then just it is what it is. Or they're dissatisfied with their wife or significant other, no longer turned on by the wife. So they justify it in some ways for some portion of the population. They justify it with, again, excuses and definitions that they create and make up on their own. But again, for the vast majority who understand and know that they're doing something wrong, and just choose to do it anyway, are making a cost benefit analysis of how what's the potential danger if I get caught or if I don't do this versus the satisfaction that I get. And sometimes that high always outweighs the potential low.
I understand that. Yeah, I get that. 'Cause I was thinking like also adding. I thought about like morals. Like I had a conversation about like what exactly are morals. Like I feel like a lot of people live by societal morals of their gender, not per se they have actual morals like that they live by. Like oh,
Oh, for sure. No, I have
like
a discussion with my students all the time. Morals are subjective. Like morals are
mm-hmm,
subjective. They don't
mm-hmm,
have any objective, actual, absolute basis to them. One
mm-hmm.
person's mean is another person's dedicated. One person's ugly is another person's beautiful. One person's hatred is another person's frustration. So that they don't actually mean anything as far as that what should actually determine or outline a person's lives, because they absolutely don't mean anything absolute. I mean, should a person steal? Well, shit, that it depends. There's no
Exactly.
absolute
Yes.
that
Yes.
stealing is wrong. There are definitely some valid instances and cases out there where you can absolutely justify stealing as a good thing and the
Absolutely.
moral thing to do. And the moral
Absolutely.
thing to do.
Yes.
So you can't necessarily just hold on to any kind of moral, code or basis as some absolute. They're all subjective and they mean different things to different people, and it's up for you to then decide and define for your own personal growth and development what your own moral code is.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yes, because I was like somebody or a group of people somewhere in history has came up with a bunch of morals that we should live by, and for some reason we just choose to do so.
Hmm.
Like, of course, some of them are understandable
Sure.
to live by at societal wise,
Right.
because it's like, yeah, all right, murder, like we brought up, like I brought up murder. Yeah, okay, if that's your thing, mm, I'm not gonna say okay because
Mm-hmm.
you're not hurting only you in this sense here,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, that's I feel like that's probably like to come to the top of my head right now. That's like the top moral that I feel like everybody should have. Like, don't take nobody life. Don't harm nobody other than yourself if you're gonna go through the process of harming anything.
Right. The most basic principle of moral that for which I understand is, don't do anything to someone else that you wouldn't like done to you.
Absolutely.
that is essentially the best way that I know how to understand any kind of uh absolute
Right.
morality for the most part.
Yes.
The rest of these, because most of these other morals, what people call values and morals, they're always founded in and are based on, the from the perspective of the powerful to navigate the masses
Mm.
and to maintain a status quo of power base
Supremacy.
and power structure. Basically, that's essentially what it comes
Mm-hmm.
down to, right? Why should
Yep. Yep.
trying to keep the masses from revolting and taking powerful resources? That's why you shouldn't steal, right? Because they're to poor people or working class people about not taking the accumulated wealth that will justify in doing so, right? Don't covet someone else's wife or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, right? Things like do not kill, it says obey your master. All these things are just power structures, well, so there's or just top down morals, well, so there's that are meant to kind of maintain a status quo. Is at the foundation of a lot of Judeo Christianity in this day and age is just to keep poor people, the lowliest, still ticking, getting up every day with the belief that their life is going to get better or they're going to make it work. And even if it doesn't, you're still going to go to heaven by just doing these right things. Oh shit, man, that ain't gonna work, and that ain't gonna do nothing for nobody at all. All that does is just maintain the status quo, where nothing
will,
changes and no progress is ever made.
will I still go to heaven if I morally feel on the right side? Will I still go to heaven if I morally feel on the right side?
Of
you know?
course, morally stealing on the right side. I mean, again, the Crusaders were out there murdering in the name of Jesus.
Exactly.
They're no different
Hey.
than Hamas and them and ISIS and them right now killing in the name of Islam. That's what the Crusaders were, slaughtering Muslims across the continent, else it is
Mm-hmm.
name of Christianity, whatnot, murdering to go to
Mm-hmm.
else it is for Jesus and for Prince to go to heaven. It's no different from all the popes and other monarchs who raped and killed and pillaged their entire lives, and then
Mm.
as soon as they got to their deathbed, they slid a few coins to the pastor of the Catholic Church, and boom, now they're going to heaven all of a sudden. It's just like that's the kind of shit
Here,
that we deal with in this moral compass, man.
here's my coins. Hopefully,
Yeah,
this will be there when I get there.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
This is gonna get. I'm gonna buy my way to heaven.
yeah, it'll help me on that boat ride across the river. This
Yeah.
right.
I've been an absolute horrible human being for 75 and pillaging and stealing and slaughtering. But now I'm on my deathbed. Here, Pastor. Now I can rest well going to heaven now. Thank you kindly.
Going on what you're saying, I look at that as
Subconsciously willing to be oblivious.
basically, I think that's just like a description of what brainwashing is.
No, I think you're absolutely right that there are people who absolutely choose to be ignorant on purpose.
Mm. Hmm.
And who
Because of I feel like you fear you fear not believing more so than actually understanding why you believe.
or you fear the reality of what you really are.
Oh,
And so
boom! Hey,
you are just better off living in a delusional,
hey,
ignorant state because the reality of what you are, or what your history is, or what your country has done, or what your people have done is too much for you to bear and totally contradicts and flies in the face of everything that you say you believe in. Thus,
yep,
then, in
yep.
order to just maintain what you currently have, you live a life in complete ignorance and delusion on purpose. And in
On
many cases,
purpose.
in this day and age, with technology and books and the knowledge that's currently out there, you have to actively be ignorant. You go
Exactly.
away on purpose to be dumb as shit.
No
You
reason.
actively search and duck and dodge knowledge on purpose, Wilson, so that you can stay ignorant, and you have to actually try to be dumb as shit.
Man, yes, I had this conversation like 3 days ago with my brother. Yes, I mean, man, yes. There you go. Yeah, what you just said. Yes, exactly that. Like it. That's to me. I call that you're being aware of your own delusion. You're aware of your own delusion, and that's what I think religion is. Like I'm not religious or spiritual,
Mhm.
but uh, it's probably I ain't gonna say it's probably it is my favorite thing to talk about religion.
Right.
But being being aware of your own delusion
Mhm.
is wow to me. Wow. Do you understand how that sounds out loud?
Absolutely. And I'm sure that they do, but it is just safer. It is just safer for them that way. Most of this. And their world is just a much better place, believing it that the world operates the way that they feel, that they think it does, even if they know for a fact it doesn't. But just continually to just believe it to be as so, even if you know it's not so, it's just better off for them. I mean, I consider myself to be somewhat religious slash spiritual. I mean, obviously, a lot of that stuff just flies in the contradiction of, my intellect, and just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
education wise, just can't be true. I mean, it just can't be, right? So I battle with that, with also with my just understanding of what faith is and whatnot, right? And just the belief in the unseen, unheard, untouched, unsmelt. I can understand that there's something else it is that would fly in that lane. I am not willing to necessarily come to the conclusion that there is just some guy up there in outer space or in some faraway galaxy who is just fine tuning and depicting and pointing out everybody's life second by second while simultaneously, you know, controlling whatever heaven there is that's up there while also simultaneously listening to the millions of prayers that are taking place at the same time. So, I mean,
Hey,
yes.
hey, man, hold on, man. Hey, hey, hey. You talking about the Almighty of
I
Mighty,
know.
man. Come on.
I
You
know.
can't say that the Almighty of all powers don't have the power to not do something.
Well, I mean, how much power can one individual entity have?
Uh,
I mean, think about it. Just how much power can one entity have? How many places can you be at all at the same time?
I know at least two I can be at in the same.
That's yeah, right? Your phone is with you in one place and you're physically in another place. That's
Uh, uh,
about it. How much
uh,
information and knowledge and secrets in your own household can you bear? So I mean, I just try to imagine, right? The billions of people who have died or have made their way probably to the pearly gates of heaven. He's monitoring that too. I mean, how many places can one person be?
well, I feel like we're all aware of our own delusion
Yeah.
to a degree because even with some of what you said you're a little bit religious,
Mhm.
um, but I feel like imagination is your everything, and including your God, being subconsciously willing to be oblivious. You're aware of your own delusion. You're making the choice to stay what we call bliss. Ignorance is bliss, another retarded phrase to me. Like,
Yeah, I don't like that one either.
yes, it's retarded. It's highly retarded because you're making the choice to treat somebody how you don't want to be treated.
Right.
You're making the choice to treat people the way you don't want to be treated, and then want to cause a fit when you do get treated
Yeah.
as such.
Yeah.
That's freaking mental for one. That's
Yeah.
all.
That's a
That's
mental
all white.
illness.
That's white to me.
Yeah. That's a mental
And
illness for sure. That's
and
definitely a
yes,
mental illness.
yes. So I feel like we're all aware of our own delusions to a
Sure.
degree. And I say to a degree because I myself, I ask questions. I don't just believe something because another person has a voice box and using
Right.
it.
Absolutely.
like
I agree.
like even with what you're saying, like I get what you're saying and I understand what you're saying. And something I had to explain to somebody last night, you know, or gave